Hello friends, my name is Joenne and welcome back to Lungaboost. Today we are going to talk about how to remember vocabulary. Forever many people ask me why they forget new words even after learning them many times. The truth is our brain works like a muscle. If you do not train it in the right way, it will not keep the words inside for long. So let us learn the right way together. The first step is to understand that memory needs time to grow. You cannot force it in one day. When you learn a new word today, your brain may keep it for some hours or some days, but then it will slowly fade away if you do not meet that word again. This is natural forgetting curve, so the best way is to see the word again after some days, then after 1 week, then after 2 weeks. This is called spaced repetition, and it is one of the most powerful ways to remember anything forever. Now let us make it even stronger. Your brain does not like dry words. It loves stories, pictures, and emotions. If you connect a word with a funny image or a small story, you will remember it much faster. For example, the word gregarious means social. You can imagine a man named Greg who always goes to parties and talks to everyone. This silly picture will make the word stick in your mind without stress. The next method is using the word in sentences. If you only read the meaning, you will forget it quickly, but if you make your own sentences, your brain feels the word in real life. For example, the word resilient means strong after difficulties. You can say, my friend is resilient after losing his job, or the tree is resilient in the storm, or I must be resilient when I fail in exams. These sentences will build a deep memory connection. Another tip is to use active recall, which means testing yourself instead of only reading. Close the book and ask yourself, what is the meaning of this word? Can I use it in a sentence? The act of searching for the answer in your mind makes the memory stronger than just reading again and again. This is why quizzes and flashcards are so powerful. Do not forget that practice is more important than perfection. If you learn 50 words in one day, you will forget most of them. But if you learn only 5 words and repeat them again and again in different ways, you will keep them for life. So slow and steady always wins the race. Also try to make learning fun, because your brain remembers better when you enjoy the process. Write a small diary entry using new words, draw a picture, connect the word with a movie scene, or explain it to a friend. Even teaching someone else is like double learning, because you make your brain work harder to explain clearly. The last point for today is to review before sleeping at night. When you look at 5 or 10 new words, your brain processes them while you sleep. This is like free learning time, because your memory becomes stronger during rest. So make this a habit and you will see great results. So friends, these are the first keys to remember vocabulary forever. One very effective way is to group your words into themes. Our brain remembers better when ideas are connected instead of random lists. For example, put all emotion words together, like joy, sorrow, anger, fear, excitement, hope, and despair, or all politics words together, like democracy, election policy, parliament, minister, and constitution. When you study by themes, you create a web of connections. So when you recall one word, the others come to mind as well. Writing is also powerful. Make a short story or a diary page where you must use the new words. For example, if your new words are resilient, humble, and victory, try to write something like, after my victory in the small contest, I felt humble, but I knew I was resilient because I had practiced so much every night. Even one short paragraph like this will fix the words into your memory better than repeating the dictionary meaning. You can also write imaginary conversations where 2 people are speaking and you must use the new vocabulary. When you read it later, it will feel natural because the words are alive inside a story. Also remember that sound helps memory. If a word is new, record yourself saying it and then play it back a few times. Hearing your own voice makes the memory stronger because you are using more than one sense at the same time. Reading, writing, speaking, and listening all together create powerful memory links. You can even make a playlist of your own voice speaking new words and listen to it while walking or before sleeping. Slowly, the sound of the words will sink deep into your long-term memory. Another strong trick is to attach emotion to the word. Our brain never forgets feelings. If you learn the word melancholy, think of a sad movie scene that touched your heart and let the feeling connect to the word. If you learn the word cheerful, think of a happy birthday, party with your friends with laughter, and cake and music. When words connect with your emotions, they stay much longer. Because emotions make the brain release stronger signals, you can even exaggerate the feelings to make the memory stick faster. Do not be afraid to repeat again and again. Review is not wasting time. It is building deep roots in your memory. 5 minutes daily review is better than one long session once a month. Little steps every day will take you far. Repetition is the mother of learning. Even if you feel bored, remind yourself that every review is like watering a plant. Without water, the plant will die. With regular water, it will grow strong and tall. Words are the same. Finally, keep your vocabulary notebook alive. Write every new word, its meaning, and one simple sentence. Carry it with you and check it whenever you have free time. This small habit creates a big result over weeks and months. Another important step to remember vocabulary forever is active recall. Active recall means you test yourself instead of only reading again and again. When you close your notebook and ask, "What does this word mean?" your brain works harder. That extra effort makes the memory stronger. For example, if the word is diligent, stop and ask, "What is diligent?" Then answer without looking. If you get it right, the memory becomes solid. You can also practice by playing games with words. Write 10 words on small cards and shuffle them. Pick one card and explain the word without using it directly. Or play with a friend and give clues while the other person guesses. Visualization is another tool. When you learn a new word, try to see a picture in your head. For example, if the word is enormous, imagine a giant elephant blocking the road. If the word is fragile, imagine a thin glass cup breaking in your hand. The clearer the picture, the stronger the memory. Storytelling makes the process even more powerful. If you combine new words into a short, funny, or strange story, you will never forget them. For example, if the new words are enormous, fragile, and diligent, you can imagine a diligent student carrying an enormous, fragile egg to school without breaking it. Context is also key. A word without context is like a seed without soil. If you only memorize definitions, the word is dry and weak. But when you see or use the word in real situations, it grows naturally. Read articles, short stories, or watch shows where your target words appear. Highlight them and try to guess their meaning from context. Later, check the dictionary to confirm. This way, your brain learns the word inside real language, not as an isolated fact. Another method is teaching. When you explain a new word to another person, you must organize the meaning and think of examples. This forces your brain to process the word deeply. Even if you have no partner, you can teach yourself out loud. Do not ignore body movement. Studies show that physical actions help memory. Try to act out the meaning of words. For example, when you learn jump, actually jump. When you learn stretch, raise your arms. When you learn whisper, lower your voice and act it. These small actions create muscle memory, which combines with mental memory. The more senses you involve, the stronger the result. Consistency is the secret of all success. 10 minutes daily practice beats 2 hours once a week. The brain loves rhythm and routine. If you decide to learn 5 words every morning and review them at night, you will create a habit. Habits run automatically and reduce the effort. Soon, remembering vocabulary will not feel like hard work, but like brushing your teeth or drinking water. Small steps each day build a mountain over time. Finally, reward yourself. Give a small prize when you reach a goal, like learning 50 words in a month. The reward can be anything you enjoy, a favorite snack, a short rest, or watching a show. Another important method to remember vocabulary forever is association with synonyms and antonyms. When you learn a new word, do not just stop at the meaning. Also connect it with words that are similar and opposite. For example, if the word is hostile, you can add unfriendly, aggressive, and bitter as synonyms. Then you add opposite words like friendly, kind, and warm. By doing this, you create a strong network of connections in your brain. So when you forget one form, another form can trigger the memory and bring it back. Reading regularly also gives a natural way to remember vocabulary. Books, articles, and stories expose you to words in context. The more often you see the same word, the stronger your memory becomes. Do not feel pressure to understand every single word in a text. Focus on the ones you are learning and enjoy the process. Over time, repeated exposure will make the word automatic. For example, the word persistent will appear many times in stories about hard work. Another useful habit is shadowing. Shadowing means repeating what you hear almost at the same time. Choose a short audio or video in English. Play a sentence, pause, and repeat it with the same speed and tone. When you shadow, you practice listening, speaking, and vocabulary at once. This triple practice locks words in both your ear and your mouth. Do not underestimate the power of labeling. If you are at home or in your room, write words on small papers and stick them on objects. For example, right mirror, right table, right chair, right window. Each time you see the object, your brain will connect it with the English word. This constant visual reminder strengthens memory without much effort. You can also use digital labels on your phone background or computer screen. Mind maps are another creative tool. Start with a main idea in the center of the page and draw lines to connect related words. For example, if your center word is travel, you can branch to words like journey, luggage, passport, airplane, adventure, hotel, and explore. Drawing these connections makes your brain see the big picture and link the words together. This structure is easier to recall later because it copies the way the brain itself organizes information. Music can also help. If you put words into a short rhyme or song, they become much easier to remember. Think about how quickly you remember lyrics even years later. You can make simple rhythms with difficult words and sing them in a playful tone. Visualization through flashcards is classic but still powerful. Write the word on one side and draw a simple picture, or write the meaning on the other side. Test yourself by looking at the word and recalling the meaning, or by looking at the meaning and recalling the word. If you do this every day for a few minutes, the effect is very strong. Finally, do not forget patience. Vocabulary memory grows slowly like a tree. At first, you may feel progress is small, but after weeks and months, the roots become deep. One more way to make vocabulary stay forever is through personal connection. When you learn a new word, try to link it with your own life story. If the word is triumph, remember the time you succeeded in something important. If the word is obstacle, recall a real challenge you faced. By tying new words to personal memories, you give them deep roots, because the brain does not forget experiences that carry meaning. Another method is spaced writing. This means you write sentences with the same word after different gaps of time. On day 1, you write 2 sentences. After 3 days, you write 2 new sentences. After 1 week, you use the word again in a short paragraph. This cycle keeps the word alive. Each new use adds another layer of memory. The brain loves repetition spread across time more than repetition all at once. You can also practice with questions. Instead of just saying the word and definition, turn it into a small question for yourself. If the word is cautious, ask, in what situation should I be cautious? Then answer with a short story like, I must be cautious when crossing the street. This small practice connects the word with logic and experience at the same time. Digital tools are also useful if used wisely. Vocabulary apps can remind you of words each day and test you automatically. Online dictionaries often give audio examples which help with pronunciation. Some platforms use games and rewards to keep you motivated. Choose one tool that you enjoy and stay consistent. Do not forget the value of speaking clubs or study partners. When you practice with others, you get the chance to hear words from different mouths and use them in natural talk. Group learning also keeps you accountable because someone else is expecting you to practice. Even short weekly meetings where you use 10 new words in conversation can create long-term memory. Another secret is mixing old and new words. If you only learn new words each day, you may forget the older ones. But if you combine both, you keep balance. For example, learn 3 new words and also review 3 old words. This mixture prevents forgetting and builds confidence. When you see that older words are still in your mind, you feel motivated to keep going. You should also try storytelling challenges. Give yourself 5 random words and create a small story that includes all of them. The story can be funny, strange, or even silly. The stranger it is, the easier you will remember. For example, if the words are invisible patient, loyal and storm, you might say the invisible dog waited patiently and loyally outside during the storm. Finally, celebrate progress, not perfection. If you remember even 50% of your words, that is success, because the other 50% will come with time. Many learners quit because they expect to remember everything instantly. But memory grows in layers. Every review, every sentence, every story adds a layer. Reviewing vocabulary before sleep is one of the most effective habits. When you look at words just before resting, your brain processes them during the night. Sleep acts like a teacher that organizes and strengthens what you studied. If you review 5 or 10 words before bed, you will notice they stay much longer in your memory. This is free learning time because your brain continues to work while you rest. Another good habit is morning recall. When you wake up, try to remember the words you studied the night before. Even if you recall only some of them, you are training your memory. This cycle of night review and morning recall creates very strong results. It is like planting a seed at night and watering it in the morning. Practice also becomes powerful when you combine senses. If you only read, you use 1 sense. If you read and say the word aloud, you use 2 senses. If you write it at the same time, you use 3 senses. If you also imagine a picture, you are using 4 senses. The more senses you involve, the deeper the memory becomes. Do not forget rhythm and movement. You can walk around while repeating words. You can clap your hands or tap your desk in rhythm as you say them. Movement activates your body, and this energy helps your brain stay awake. Boring study makes the brain sleep. Active study makes the brain alive. Another tip is to build vocabulary islands. A vocabulary island is a group of words connected by one topic. For example, an island about food can include cook. Bake, fry, boil, taste, sweet, bitter, sour, delicious. An island about travel can include passport, luggage, airplane, hotel, adventure, explore. Each island is like a small world of meaning. When you step into that world, all the words come together and support each other. You can also train your brain with writing prompts. Choose 3 random words and force yourself to write a paragraph. For example, if the words are fragile, brave, and journey, you might write the fragile boat carried the brave man on a long journey. This short activity forces you to use creativity while practicing memory. The brain remembers better when learning feels creative. Reading aloud is another strong technique. When you read silently, you may skip over words. When you read aloud, you pay more attention. You also hear yourself, which doubles the effect. Try reading 1 article or story each day aloud. Circle or underline words you want to remember and repeat them several times. Repetition across places also helps. If you only study at your desk, your brain links the words to that place. But if you review while walking, in the park, or sitting in the bus, or standing in the kitchen, the brain connects words with many contexts. This makes the memory stronger and more flexible. Finally, never compare your progress with others. Every learner has a different speed and style. Some people learn fast but forget fast. Some people learn slowly but keep words forever. A very strong way to keep vocabulary forever is to turn it into habits instead of random practice. Habits are automatic actions that require less energy. If you decide that every morning you will review 5 words and every night you will recall them then, soon it will become natural. You will not need willpower because the habit will run on its own. This is why small but regular practice always beats large but irregular practice. Another helpful method is to make connections with culture. If you learn a word like festival or tradition, look at how it is used in real cultural situations. Watch a video of a festival or read an article about traditions. When the word is tied to real-life events, it becomes alive. You are not just memorizing sounds, but connecting with the world. Do not underestimate drawing. Even if you are not an artist, you can make quick sketches. If the word is mountain, draw a simple triangle. If the word is ocean, draw a few waves. If the word is anger, draw a face with smoke coming out. These simple images give your brain another path to remember the word. The drawing itself does not have to be good. The act of creating it is what makes the memory stronger. Another practice is chaining words. Chaining means linking one word to the next in a sequence. For example, you start with sun, then connect to hot, then connect to desert, then connect to camel. You can make long chains of words and speak them out loud. Practice storytelling with exaggeration. If the word is tiny, do not just say the ant is tiny. Instead, say the ant carried a tiny house on its back. If the word is furious, do not just say he was furious. Say he was so furious that his face turned into a volcano. Exaggeration makes the memory stick because the brain loves unusual and surprising images. Listening is also a great teacher. Podcasts, audiobooks, and even songs give you natural exposure to vocabulary. When you hear a word in different voices and tones, it becomes more familiar. Try to pause and repeat the sentence aloud. This way, you join listening and speaking practice at the same time. Do not ignore review with writing tests. Once a week, sit down with a blank page. Write all the new words you can remember without looking at notes. Then check your notebook and see which ones you missed. This shows your real progress. It also highlights which words need more practice. Self-testing is the mirror that shows the truth of learning. Another useful step is to combine emotions with colors. Write happy words in yellow, sad words in blue, angry words in red, calm words in green. Color coding builds extra memory hooks because your brain reacts strongly to colors. Later, when you see the color, you may remember the word too. Finally, accept that forgetting is part of learning. Every learner forgets words. Forgetting does not mean failure. It only means the memory needs more review. Instead of feeling upset, take it as a signal to repeat. A very strong way to keep vocabulary forever is to turn it into habits instead of random practice. Habits are automatic actions that require less energy. If you decide that every morning you will review 5 words and every night you will recall them then, soon it will become natural. You will not need willpower because the habit will run on its own. This is why small but regular practice always beats large but irregular practice. Another helpful method is to make connections with culture. If you learn a word like festival or tradition, look at how it is used in real cultural situations. Watch a video of a festival or read an article about traditions. When the word is tied to real-life events, it becomes alive. You are not just memorizing sounds, but connecting with the world. Do not underestimate drawing. Even if you are not an artist, you can make quick sketches. If the word is mountain, draw a simple triangle. If the word is ocean, draw a few waves. If the word is anger, draw a face with smoke coming out. These simple images give your brain another path to remember the word. The drawing itself does not have to be good. The act of creating it is what makes the memory stronger. Another practice is chaining words. Chaining means linking one word to the next in a sequence. For example, you start with sun, then connect to hot, then connect to desert, then connect to camel. You can make long chains of words and speak them out loud. Practice storytelling with exaggeration. If the word is tiny, do not just say the ant is tiny. Instead, say the ant carried a tiny house on its back. If the word is furious, do not just say he was furious. Say he was so furious that his face turned into a volcano. Exaggeration makes the memory stick because the brain loves unusual and surprising images. Listening is also a great teacher. Podcasts, audiobooks, and even songs give you natural exposure to vocabulary. When you hear a word in different voices and tones, it becomes more familiar. Try to pause and repeat the sentence aloud. This way, you join listening and speaking practice at the same time. Do not ignore review with writing tests. Once a week, sit down with a blank page. Write all the new words you can remember without looking at notes. Then check your notebook and see which ones you missed. This shows your real progress. It also highlights which words need more practice. Self-testing is the mirror that shows the truth of learning. Another useful step is to combine emotions with colors. Write happy words in yellow, sad words in blue, angry words in red, calm words in green. Color coding builds extra memory hooks because your brain reacts strongly to colors. Later, when you see the color, you may remember the word too. Finally, accept that forgetting is part of learning. Every learner forgets words. Forgetting does not mean failure. It only means the memory needs more review. Instead of feeling upset, take it as a signal to repeat. One of the strongest ways to keep vocabulary forever is by linking it to your goals and dreams. If you want to become a doctor, then focus on medical words like diagnosis, remedy, and treatment. If you want to become a lawyer, then learn legal words like justice, trial, and evidence. When vocabulary connects with your dream, it feels important. Important words stay in memory because your heart values them. Another method is active imagination. Close your eyes and imagine a scene where the new word is alive. If the word is generous, imagine someone giving food to a hungry child. If the word is storm, imagine the sky darkening and rain falling hard. The more clearly you see the picture in your mind, the more powerful the memory becomes. Try the method of opposites. Whenever you learn a new word, also learn its opposite. If you learn success, also learn failure. If you learn honest, also learn dishonest. The brain remembers better when it compares two sides. You create balance and contrast. That contrast keeps both words alive in your memory. Practice mixing old words with new ones. Do not just review new vocabulary alone. Combine them with words you already know. If you learned peaceful last month, and today you learn chaotic, then write a sentence. Like the peaceful town suddenly became chaotic. Mixing old and new makes the learning chain longer and stronger. Another strong tool is digital storytelling. Use your phone to record yourself telling a short story with new vocabulary, then listen to it later as if it is a podcast. When you hear your own voice, you reinforce the learning twice. First when you speak and second when you listen. This double practice makes the memory last. Use rewards as well. Every time you successfully remember and use a new word, give yourself a small prize. It can be a piece of chocolate, a short break, or even a smile in the mirror. Rewards tell your brain this word is valuable. The brain repeats what feels good. Soon learning will become a joyful cycle. Do not ignore the power of groups. Join a study group or an online forum where people share vocabulary. When you learn with others, you hear different sentences and new ideas. Group learning brings variety and energy. It also adds social pressure that motivates you to keep practicing. A very playful method is to create jokes or funny sentences. If the word is enormous, you can say, "My cat is so enormous that it needs its own car." If the word is invisible, you can say, "My homework is invisible, that is why I cannot show it." Funny images stick in the brain because humor makes learning lighter and happier. Finally, respect rest and sleep. Many students ignore this truth. Sleep is when the brain organizes memories. If you stay up all night cramming words, you will forget them quickly. If you study calmly and sleep well, the words will settle into long-term memory. Rest is not wasting time, it is part of learning. With sleep review practice and patience, your vocabulary will stay with you for life. One more powerful way to hold vocabulary forever is to make it part of your identity. If you tell yourself, "I am the kind of person who learns and uses new words every day," then your brain will support that belief. Identity shapes action. When you see yourself as a learner, then every word becomes a step in your story. Words will not feel like a task. They will feel like a natural part of who you are. Use personal memories as anchors. If you learn the word adventure, think about a time when you traveled or tried something new. If you learn the word challenge, remember a moment when you faced something difficult. When a word connects with your life, it becomes personal. Personal memories are never forgotten. Another strong technique is comparison. Compare the new word with one you already know. If the word is rapid, compare it with fast. If the word is joyful, compare it with happy. Ask yourself, what is the small difference between them? This comparison sharpens your understanding and keeps both words safe in your mind. You can also use acting. Pretend you are on a stage and act out the meaning of a word. If the word is brave, stand tall and strong. If the word is nervous, shake your hands a little. Acting uses your body and your emotions. That combination makes the memory stronger and more natural. Try combining vocabulary with technology. Use translation apps, dictionaries, and language games. But do not just look once. Use them daily. When technology becomes your helper, it provides endless repetition. Repetition plus variety gives long-lasting memory. Another simple tool is labeling your environment. Write words on small papers and stick them on objects. On your mirror, write reflection. On your fridge, write cold. On your desk, write focus. Each time you see the object, you also see the word. Slowly, your environment teaches you without effort. Practice small conversations in your head. Imagine you are meeting someone and you need to use the new words. If you learned confident, imagine saying, I feel confident today. If you learned exhausted, imagine saying, I am exhausted after the long trip. These inner conversations train your mind quietly and prepare you for real-life use. Also, explore creative writing. Do not only write serious sentences. Write poems, short dialogues, or even comics. If the word is magical, write a line like the magical bird flew across the city. Creativity adds energy and emotion. The more playful you are, the deeper the memory grows. Finally, believe in the power of patience. Vocabulary is not about speed. It is about steady steps. Some words may stick quickly. Others may take weeks. That is normal. Keep practicing with love and interest. Trust that every word is slowly taking root in your memory. In the end, all the roots will grow into a strong tree of language that will stay with you for life.